Okay, so his graph is accurate because he does have the ordered pairs that everybody else's have. It's not precise because of the trend of the line.
Yes, and I'm sorry, I'm not science and I can't keep that straight in my little pea
Okay.
brain. So, and most math teachers will use accurate when they mean precise. So I do apologize for that, but that's just me. All right, so somebody, Elizabeth, do you have a comment?
I agree with the accuracy and precise of the graph with the number of coordinates, but it should not be connected.
Oh, why not?
Because you can't have
Yeah.
half rods.
You can't have half of a rod.
Oh.
So when you connect them, that means that every point on that line works for this situation.
Okay.
And we cannot, I will not let you break Dr. West's rods to halves, fourths, thirds, etc. So it is, we should not have connected them, right? So, thank you, Tim, you can rest. Okay, so raise your hand, ladies.
It's just off scale.
Raise your hands, ladies. Jim.
Okay, so I do have a question about continuous data. There's another reason that you can't have half a rod, but at some point, that line is going to cross the y-axis and move into negative numbers, and you can't also have a negative number of
Not on
rods.
this one, that's
No,
what we use
on
first
that-
quadrant.
on this graph.
If that's on that graph, at some point, if you connected those, the line would cross the origin and move into a negative value, and you can't have a negative number of rods as well.
Right, so that's why he used only, that's why he used only quadrant one.
But if you connect the line continues.
Stop the line at the axis, yeah, have to go on.
Okay.
Have to go on. So this is the tricky thing about math and what we do to kids. Okay? Many times we do an activity like this, and it is, even if it's continuous data, it's all first quadrant because we're talking about things that cannot be negative. And then we graph it in 4 quadrants and we extend the line. Textbooks do it all the time. So you have to have these conversations with your children about, yes, this graph did go into 3rd quadrant or whatever, but that is inappropriate because that situation does not lend to that. Hang on. So we got Elizabeth.
2 things. The first part where he starts at 0, and then the 2, shouldn't he have that little squiggle? Also,
What little
I
squiggle?
don't know what you call it.
Would you like to come up here and show us the squiggle?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Y'all pay attention because y'all are all bringing up really good points.
What are you doing?
That's about it.
Because he started at 2, and then he went 3, 4, and I know he skipped 5 and did 6, but we can say that that's going to be there. But since he started at 2 at that first line, that there should be this little, I don't know what you call it. Is that right?
It's a squiggle. So the little squiggle in an axis like that indicates what, Elizabeth? Oh, excuse me, let me rephrase that because you shouldn't end with what.
Oh.
I can begin with what. What does the squiggle indicate when it's on an axis like this?
A break in the interval?
In the numbers that are, the numbers that are being used, the quantities. Who had a hand up? Rochelle.
I guess the point of the straight line, well, I know there's no line, however, shouldn't, since this is multiplicative, shouldn't there be a dot on 0, 0? Because I can have 0 rods. I can have 0, but the other graphs didn't have 0, 0.
Was that dot in our table?
No.
So no. You mean should it or
Should
could it?
Should it?
Should it? It should not because that was not in our table. Could it have been in our table? Yes, we could have started with 0 purple rods and we would have 0 red rods.
Okay.
Okay? Brendan.
Okay, on ours and Quentin's, our X and Y axis has this same interval of 1. All right, there's, the X was the same, and then Y's are the interval of 2. Okay, to me, this one, the Y axis, the interval varies each time. It's not consistent, and that's what appears to throw his graph off. Right?
Nice,
So-
nice catch, Brandon.
So his Y was different than his X's, but his Y's were still constant,
Okay.
where his Y's over here are not constant.
So are you telling me that his scale changed on his
Yeah,
y-axis?
his scales change different times throughout here. That's what making his graph appear to be nonlinear or incorrect
Yes, for this
for
situation.
this situation.
Yes, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
That would be, this would appear that way if you did not use a graph paper. So it's important that you tell them, if you're gonna use the graph paper, you stay on the lines as your intervals.
Right.
And that's a good point. You
So I
don't want them
can keep
freehand drawing
Yeah.
graphs at this stage. Don't want them freehand drawing graphs. Pam?
This would segue into misleading graphs.
Yes.
So how kids can see that,
Yes.
how commercials use different scales to make it look like it's a huge difference when it's really minute.
Yeah, one doctor chose that toothpaste instead of the other.
Right.
Yeah.
There's an Odd Squad episode that is totally dedicated to all of that. It's really good.
Oh, that's fun.
And it's interesting to make the kids find graphs and they start to realize.
It's a good show.
Okay, so, lost my train of thought, so maybe my PowerPoint will help me. So we've answered that, we've answered that. This activity went on, y'all listening? This activity went on, we're not gonna do these extra activities because this was a review. I just wanted you to graph a linear function. And this one is discrete. And why is it discrete? Now, why is it discrete data?
Because we cannot cut the purple rods into pieces.
Okay, thank you. So what kind of data would not be discrete, and what would we call that?
Oh, sorry, I thought you were still talking to me.
Ashley D.
Ashley D.
If it wasn't discrete, what would we call it?
Yes. Good guess. We call it continuous.
Okay.
Continuous. So
When
let's,
that is the continuous, is that where you would draw a line?
Yes.
it doesn't matter if it's a line or not. It just has the dots connected. When you say line, you're, I
Oh,
think
right, right.
linear, okay?
Okay.
But it does have the dots, the data points
Connected.
connected. So, we're looking at Russell's graphs that were up here, not my circle, but the only one I left up here, which is this one. Is this one continuous or discrete? It is continuous. He connected all the data points, right? Why do we have to do this one continuous? Because, wait, Quentin. Sorry.
Oh, listen. Oh, no. Brenda.
Because you can have increments of time and also of distance, move, displacement, distance, which one am I really using?
I'm gonna call it distance.
Distance, thank you, or distance, you can have minute increments, so therefore you can have it connected.
Okay, so time can be broken down into smaller and smaller and smaller units, and distance can be broken down into smaller and smaller and smaller units, so it makes sense to have the dots connected. So that's continuous data as opposed to discrete data. We've already talked about linear. This was a linear function, means when you graph it, it forms a line. And then this is nonlinear. What do we call these that are nonlinear usually?
Kim.
Kim?
Continuous?
Well, the way I drew it, this one is continuous, but the shape, is it a line?
No.
No, what is it?
Non-linear?
That's true. A little more specific at drawing it. Here, off the hook. Turn it around.
Ashley D.
Ashley B.
Save me.
It's a curve. It's a curve. Now, not all functions are either linear or curves because there are all those piecewise functions. You have a question? Okay, we're not quite there yet.
You're ready.
All right, not quite there. So, what we're going to do now, let me see if we really are going to do what I'm thinking we're doing. Okay, we'll do this. So, we did that. We did that. So we're talking about the characteristics of proportionality, because Brandon said that this was a proportional graph. Proportional relationship, not a graph.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? What makes it proportional? Brandon?
By definition, it has to, of course, be linear, and it has to go through the origin.
Okay? So the graph
Correct.
has to be linear, and the graph has to go through the origin to be proportional. And the function has to be that word that Rochelle said. Do you remember what you said? No, that's not what you said.
No,
You said
What
it
I
had to
said
be
had-
multiplicative. Multiplicative. So it cannot be an additive function.
It's just additive function, so.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
through the origin, so we said this stops it.
We can't hear you back here.
So she just said it must go through the origin, but this can't. This,
So thank you for catching that. It touches the origin. Okay, it doesn't have to go onto the negative part. Okay. Right? But this one did not touch the origin because that was not one of our ordered pairs. Had it been extended, would it have touched the origin?
yes.
Except for Tim's. Yeah.
When you're talking about the function, are you talking about, is that the process?
Yes. You want me to back up? The rule.
The rule, the equation.
You can back up with the clicker that
I
gave you.
don't know how, it's not working. Right there, the table here,
Yes, it's working.
in the process column, right here, the rule, what they call the rule in elementary school,
Okay.
is, in this case, also a function. They're not all functions, but that word comes out of my mouth because in Texas, the TEKS were written as, the TEKS for algebra were written focusing on functions.
Okay. And
So that
function
word is just natural to me.
Are the operations or the process that you do? Okay.
So that's the rule, and it's
Gotcha.
multiplicative. It's multiplying 2 times the x.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So what we're going to do now, because we've talked about a lot of words that have to do with graphing. So what does a graph look like when it has discrete data?
Elizabeth.
Discrete data. Here's the graph.
Just discrete, okay. If it was a graph with discrete data, then no points would be connected.
That's right, you do not connect the points. So what about continuous data?
Elizabeth.
The points would be connected.
Points would be connected, good. So proportional, we just talked about that. So, and we just talked about that. So this is what we're going to do. I went through the TEKS, and I got almost all of the TEKS that deal with graphing. I didn't get them all because there's a whole lot in 8th grade and Algebra 1 that deal with things other than what I wanted to talk about. So I have, where is that? Where are the papers of the TEKS, Sandra? I have all these TEKS here on graphing, and what you're going to do is, oops, what you're going to do, I'm going to separate you into groups, and you're going to start with the highest grade level of TEKS that your group is assigned, okay? And you're going to identify the vocabulary. You're going to make a chart like this with the chart paper. You're going to identify the important vocabulary for that, right? And sometimes there's more than one under a level here. And then you're going to go to the grade level right below that, listening, and choose the TEKS that support these TEKS above it. So we're working backwards on a vertical alignment. And the important part, well, one of the important parts, is the vocabulary, okay? Now, I wasn't expecting a group this big. I was just going to put you into 2 groups, but I think I'll put you into 2 groups. Okay, I just changed my mind again. So one group will have K through 5. The other group, or maybe even 6. The other group will have 6 through Algebra 1. Let's do K through 6 and 7 through Algebra 1. Now, the elementary group has more grade levels because, you know, kindergarten and first grade, they don't have a whole lot of TEKS on graphing, all right? So one group will do K through 6, the other group will do 7 through Algebra 1, all right? So let me choose my groups. And while I'm choosing the groups, would y'all please put the Cuisinart rods back into the containers. So I want, let's see. I want these 4 to do Algebra 1 through 7th grade. I want these 6 to do K, unless you want to move to a high school group. K through grade 6. And I want y'all to do
So we start at 6th grade and work our way
Algebra
down.
1 through 7th grade. Starting with Algebra 1, working down.
Start at 6th grade. Okay. Do 6th grade.
No, you didn't. No, I lost it. Vocabulary, box.